Greetings, Bosch canister fans, and welcome to the very extensive airflow suction and particle tests of this gorgeous red Bosch Premium Electro Duo XXL HC, 1450 watts, 12 amps, and some other model number that I've forgotten printed on the bottom, graciously donated by one Alan O. So we have two bags we're going to work with. We're going to find out which one's the best as far as airflow, and then we'll simply go on with the best bag rather than go back and forth, because we will know what the differences are. So we have here on the left a cardboard collar and a nice rubber surround, a good seal right here. So seems to be pretty good. And then we have this bag here, and it's got this plastic collar, but it has the cloth bag as a surround. And I've seen this before. This isn't as bad as you think, but that's probably still going to be better as far as making a good seal. But here's the thing. This appears to be, I haven't measured it yet, but this appears to be a higher quality, thicker bag, as far as I can tell. It feels sturdier, thicker, seems to have either more layers or better layers. We're just going to have to go and do a bunch of tests and find out what's going on with that. This appears to be still a fine bag, but it's got a cardboard collar and it's a little thinner. I think both are good. I'm going to guess this one might be better, but we're going to start out at least with some airflow tests. And at some point in time, I've got to set up my rig to go and measure particles just for the bags. So let's put this bag in first. Don't fall. What a mess. Just kind of slides in there. All right, do what I can to spread the bag out. It's all possible to do that. And I'm going to test at two speeds. Here is low, and then here's high, and then obviously there's everything in between. So let's start down at low. And of course, all the filters are in. This is a brand new machine, so all the HEPA filters are brand new in here. And the pre-motor filters obviously clean as well. All right, let's get started. On low, with the green HEPA bag, I'll also call out some current measurements. I'll let the machine come up and stabilize a little bit. I'm going to say 4.4 amps. So if we're at about 121 volts, this is a little over 532 watts on low. And 1358. We're looking at 35.44 CFM. Okay, that's on low. Let's get to the fun part. Now we're cranking about 10.2 amps. Yeah, we're about 10.2 amps. And at 121 volts, that's about 1234 watts. And we have a peak CFM, let's see, 4350 of about 114 CFM. About 114 CFM. And that's with the green HEPA bag. Okay, so let's switch bags. Green one out, and we'll put the blue one in. will it have more CFM? I think it's got more filtration. It'd be nice if I put it in the right way. Make sure the collar's set up right. Now there we go. I get more of a click out of the plastic than I do out of the cardboard. Okay, let's reset this. Here we are on low. Max peak there. Almost 1400, not quite. 1397. And we're at 36.5 CFM. Now let's go to the fun speed. So, looks like I guessed correctly. 116.1. So we have a little more CFM out of the blue bag with the plastic collar than we do the green bag with the cardboard collar. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to set this aside and we're going to do the rest of the test using the blue bag in there. So with the bag actually installed, because it's a little difficult to, with this particular machine, run it without the bag installed. I've done it, but how about we go and take a look at what happens to the CFM when I take the HEPA filters out. Let's take a closer look at what those filters look like. Well, there's actually two of them in there, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. Let's see what happens to the CFM. Okay, I think we went from about 116 CFM to 122.3 CFM by taking these filters out. So those filters use a few CFM. They definitely do. So if you feel the need to have a little more CFM, but you don't want HEPA exhaust filtration, you can take this out and get a little more power. Here we go with the suction, all filters in. I'm going to start at low speed, and then I'll move it all the way up to high and then back down again. Right there is low. And there's high. So I think we saw a peak of 74, but I'll have to go and review the footage. Now let's check the HEPA exhaust for particle emissions. All filters still in. Got all zeros. All right, think we've seen enough. So that's 4 sets of all zeros. Now let's do some airflow and suction tests on maximum, all filters in at the hose end. Let's see, 3583. And we are at 93.5 CFM with all the filters in. Yeah, you can see that. It's a little dim though. Okay, so let's actually try a suction test, and I'm going to have to move the camera. Suction from the end of the hose on max. Doesn't look like a whole lot of loss compared to the canister opening itself. So not bad. It's a pretty tight hose. Of course, it's new, so it should be tight. Let's take a look at the underside of this EBK 340 power nozzle. So the total width from here to here is 11 3/4 inches. The total depth front to back is 1 3/4 inches for a total square inch opening. And boy, it's a total square inch opening. Nothing to impede anything whatsoever from going in there, of 20.6 square inches. Just to give you a reference, the typical newer G series power nozzle is 33.6 square inches for an opening. Much, much larger. But this still has some kind of reasonable size, even though in my collection, where I've gone and cataloged everything and put in a spreadsheet, the total nozzle opening is actually a little below average. So when I go and perform the static airflow and suction box tests with this thing, you notice that it's got kind of like some dental work here. It's got a squeegee, goes all the way across. Interestingly enough, it's got this little movable brush right here, little tiny thing. It's got a couple of notched cutouts here for some airflow and suction relief, 2 little wheels, and this is solid all the way across. So I'm going to have to use what I normally use, a big piece of foam insulating tape to go ahead and seal this completely up, because the rear was not really meant to be completely sealed. So just kind of keep that in mind when I do the static airflow and suction tests. That's just literally numbers that might not necessarily correspond to a whole lot, other than just trying to see what we can get out of this nozzle when we fully seal it, even though the manufacturer never meant this to be sealed. Got the EBK 340 on the airflow suction box, so let's go ahead and give it a try. All filters in. I'll do low speed first. Yeah, this isn't going to give us a whole lot of airflow, but thought I'd just show you how low it could go. Really quiet. You can barely hear anything. Well, for some reason, if you wanted to have hardly any airflow whatsoever, you could put this thing on low and vacuum with 24 CFM, if that's what you wanted to do. Alright, let's go ahead and crank the power all the way up. Alright, cranked all the way up. We are at 71, I think there, now you can see it, 71.4 CFM. That's actually not that bad, considering. However, there's a big leak. And the leak is in the power nozzle joint that actually connects right to the bottom rear of the power nozzle. You might not be able to hear it, but I'll show you what happens. And I hope that you can hear the vanes spin up. It's right in here and here where it leaks tremendously. And here it leaks even worse. Here, I'll take the peak hold off. There we go. All right, watch this. Let's see if you can hear it too. So this is a problem that plagues a lot of power nozzles, and in this case, this EBK 340 isn't immune to it. You've got leaky connections. You've got leaky connection just in general right in here, and also right in here. Now I'm going to turn the brush roll on. So we are about dead on 10.07 amps right now. So let's see what this does. So not on carpet, we're running a little over 11 amps. And I noticed that when I did put it on carpet, on my medium pile carpet, I could see 11.5 amps. Let that stabilize for a few seconds. Alright, I'm going to say 2736. Doesn't really look like a big change. I guess I really wasn't expecting much. So we're at, so I can block that, there we go, 71.4 CFM. So not really a big change. Nozzle on to nozzle off. Now let me set up for some suction, but I'm just kind of letting you know now with the leak, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of suction. Alright, I'm seeing about 18 inches of lift. And I don't know how many people have ever seen this before. I don't think I have. If I want to go and have the cord auto rewind, all I have to do is turn the power off. And there it goes. Alright, thanks for watching and stay tuned for more.